Rain beat hard on the roof of Chief Adeyemi's mansion like 1,000 angry drummers. Inside, the lights were bright, the floor shone like glass, and the air smelled of foreign perfume. At the long dining table, books and papers were scattered everywhere. In the middle sat Amaka, the billionaire's only daughter, her eyes red from crying. Beside her sat a girl in torn clothes and dusty slippers. Her hair was rough. Her school uniform was old and faded, not even the same school as Amaka's. A nylon bag with a few sachets of water lay by her feet. Anyone could see she did not belong in this rich man's house. Yet her eyes were sharp and clear. "No, look," the homeless girl said softly, pointing at the maths question. "You don't need to fear this. Break it into small parts. See. First you find X here. Then you use it to find Y." Her fingers moved quickly over the paper. In seconds, the answer that had confused Amaka for weeks became simple. Amaka gasped. "So, it was that easy." The girl smiled. "Hard things become easy when someone explains them with love." The door opened. Chief Adeyemi walked in, still in his dark suit, tie loose around his neck. 2 bodyguards followed him. His shoes made a low sound on the tiles. He stopped. His eyes fell on the strange girl at his daughter's side. For a few heartbeats, the whole house went silent. Even the wall clock seemed to hold its breath. "Who," Chief Adeyemi said slowly, "is this girl?" Auntie Beezy, the housekeeper, rushed in from the kitchen. "Sir, I found her outside the gate. She was helping Madam's driver's son with his homework. I just brought her in for small food. I didn't know she would." "You brought a street girl into my house?" His voice was cold. The homeless girl stood up at once. Her hands shook, but she lifted her chin. "Good evening, sir," she said. "I'm sorry. I can go." Amaka grabbed her wrist. "Daddy, please." "She's the only one who made me understand this topic. All the other teachers failed. Look." She pushed the exercise book towards him. The page was full of neat working and a correct answer. Chief Adeyemi did not look at the book. His eyes stayed on the girl's torn dress, her dusty legs, her worn-out slippers. "You teach my daughter?" he asked. "Yes, sir," the girl replied, voice trembling but clear. "I just wanted to help." For some reason even he did not understand, Chief Adeyemi pulled the chair and sat down across from them. "Explain the question to me," he said. "From the beginning." Everyone in the room stared. The girl swallowed, then slowly began to talk. As she spoke, her fear seemed to melt away. She explained step by step, drawing small diagrams, breaking the big problem into small pieces. There was no big grammar, just clear, simple words. Soon, even the billionaire, who had not touched a maths book in years, found himself nodding. Bodyguards glanced at each other. Auntie Beezy's mouth hung open. Amaka watched her father's face, scared of what he would say. At the end, the homeless girl put the pen down. "That is all, sir." The room was so quiet they could hear the rain. Chief Adeyemi's eyes were different now. Softer. Surprised. He looked at his daughter. He looked at the girl. Then very slowly he stood up. What he said next shocked everyone in the room. Before we continue, please like and subscribe and let us know where you're watching from. Long before that rainy night, Lagos was already a city of sharp edges. On one side of the third mainland bridge, tall glass buildings rose into the sky, each one shining like a trophy. On the other side, under the same bridge, children slept on cardboard and old mats, using nylon bags as pillows. Down there, among the noise of cars and the smell of smoke and fish, lived a girl called Zuri. Nobody was sure how old she really was. Some people said 12. Others said 14. All Zuri knew was that her parents had gone to the hospital one day and never come back. An aunt took her in for a few months, then said there was no money, no space, no food. So the street became her home. Every morning before the sun climbed high, Zuri woke up, folded her thin mat, tied her nylon bag, and went to the busy junction. She sold pure water and ground nuts to drivers stuck in traffic. She smiled, she ran, she shouted, "Pure water! Pure water!" until her voice was tired. But there was one strange thing about Zuri. Every time she saw a piece of paper on the ground, she picked it up. Old newspapers, torn textbooks, even receipts with numbers on them. She would smooth them out and read. Numbers danced in her head like little friends. She counted her steps, the cars, the coins in her hand. She could tell if her money was short by just one look. "Zuri, your own is too much," one of the boys under the bridge teased. "Why are you always reading like somebody going for exam?" She only smiled. "One day, this maths will open a door for me." They laughed, but she held those words close like a secret treasure. Far away, on the island side of the city, another morning was starting in a very different way. In a huge white house with tall gates and guards at the front, Chief Adeyemi Okonkwo sat at his breakfast table. He was one of the richest men in Lagos. People said he could buy a whole street if he wanted to. He had oil companies, hotels, and even shares in a big bank. On the wall in his dining room, his face smiled down from a large framed magazine cover. The man who turned dust into gold. But that morning, his face did not look like gold. Looked like storm cloud. Across from him sat his only child, Amaka, poking her bread with a fork. Her eyes were fixed on the table. "Amaka," he said, trying to keep his voice calm, "what did your teacher say again?" She shrank into her chair. He said if I fail maths again, I may not move to SS2 with my classmates." Her mother, elegant in a silk wrapper, shook her head. "Ah, God forbid. All your classmates, children of my friends, will go forward and you will remain. Over my dead body." "Don't talk like that," Chief said, but he was also worried. In his world, image was everything. People talked. They pointed. If news went round that the daughter of Chief Adeyemi could not pass ordinary maths, it would be shameful. "But I've tried," Amaka whispered, voice breaking. "I try and try, but the numbers jump around. I don't understand. The teacher just shouts. The extra lesson teacher too. It's like the more I look at the page, the more it hates me." Her father sighed. "I will find the best maths teacher in this city," he said. "I don't care how much they cost. We will fix this." In his mind, there was nothing money could not fix. That same afternoon, while Zuri was resting under a small tree by the roadside, a black jeep stopped near her. The driver's side window rolled down. A woman with fine hair and gold earrings leaned out. "Small girl, come," she called. "Do you know anywhere I can buy plantain chips here?" Zuri jogged over. "Yes, ma. There is one woman that sells very sweet one inside that street." He pointed. The woman smiled. "Thank you. Here, take this." She gave Zuri a note. It was 1,000 naira. Zuri's eyes widened. "Ah, auntie, it's too much. I only showed you." "Keep it," the woman said. "You helped me." As the jeep drove away, Zuri stared at the money in her hand. A whole 1,000 naira. That was more than she sometimes made in 2 days. She looked up at the school building across the road. Its wall was painted yellow. The gate was rusty. Children in faded uniforms ran in and out, shouting. On the fence, a torn poster showed a smiling girl in a graduation gown. Above her head were the words, "Education is the key." Zuri touched the money and whispered, "Maybe today I will buy a book." Later that day, when the sun had started to fall and the air cooled, Zuri walked into a small bookstall beside the school. The old man there wiped his glasses and smiled. "Ah, my maths girl," he said. "You again." "I got some money today," Zuri said shyly. "Do you have any old maths textbooks? Even if some pages are missing." He dug in a pile and pulled out a thick second-hand book. "This one is for SS1 students. The front cover is gone, but the inside is still good." Zuri held it like a baby. "How much, sir?" "For you, 500. She paid, keeping the rest for food. Then she sat on a low stool outside and started reading. The symbols and letters on the page lit up her mind. She whispered the problems under her breath, solving them one by one. On the other side of town, in a modern school with air-conditioned classrooms and a shiny school gate, Amaka was staring at a very similar book, and feeling as if it was trying to fight her. "Class, this is a simple simultaneous equation," Mr. Danjuma, the maths teacher, said, writing on the board. "Simple, I say. Many of you are making it look like rocket science." Some students nodded like they understood. Others just copied blindly. Amaka's head hurt. The numbers refused to arrange themselves. After class, she waited behind to see Mr. Danjuma. "Sir," she said, "please can you explain it again? I'm still not getting it." He looked tired. "Amaka, I have tried. You have a private tutor at home. Even your father called me last week. What else do you want me to say? Some people are just not maths people. Go and focus on English or something." Her throat tightened. She left the class before he could see the tears in her eyes. At closing time, parents' cars lined up outside the school. Big SUVs, small cars, Okadas carrying children with worn bags. Amaka's driver was stuck in traffic, so she stood by the gate, hugging her backpack. Across the road, Zuri sat on her stool, still working on her new textbook, her lips moving as she calculated. Now and then she looked up and watched the children in neat uniforms climb into their parents' cars. A small part of her heart ached, but she pushed the feeling away and went back to her sums. Just then, a loud voice came from inside Amaka's school compound. "You mean to tell me my daughter is failing maths like this?" It was Chief Adeyemi. He had come straight from a meeting, too angry to wait. "Sir, we are trying," the principal said. "We even suggested a special class, but—" "Try harder," he shouted. "Do you know who I am? My daughter cannot fail. Do you hear me? She cannot fail." Students and parents near the gate turned to look. Some whispered. Phones came out recording. Hot shame crawled up Amaka's neck as she listened. She could not bear it. Without waiting for the driver or for her father to come out, she pushed open the small side gate and hurried into the street, head down, tears blurring her vision. She ran across the road, not looking left or right. Zuri looked up just in time. "Hey, be careful," she shouted, grabbing Amaka's hand and pulling her away from a passing Okada that skidded and honked angrily. The bike whooshed past them. For a moment, the two girls stood still, breathing hard. One in a rich school uniform, one in a faded one. One smelling of foreign perfume, the other of dust and sweat. Amaka wiped her face quickly. "Thank you," she whispered, embarrassed. Zuri nodded. Her eyes dropped to the maths textbook sticking out of Amaka's bag. "I know that topic," she said without thinking. "Simultaneous equations. It looks hard, but it is not." Amaka blinked. "You understand it." Zuri opened her own second-hand book and turned it around. On the page, in tiny neat writing, was a question almost the same as the one that had made Amaka cry in class. "You see this one?" Zuri said. "If you like, I can show you the trick." Amaka stared at her, confused. How could a homeless girl from under the bridge understand the hardest subject she could not pass? Her heart beat faster as Zuri picked up a small piece of chalk and bent down to write the first step on the pavement between them. And as the first white lines appeared on the rough ground, Amaka felt, without knowing why, that her life was about to change forever. The chalk in Zuri's hand was already small, almost finished, but her lines on the pavement were neat. "See," she told Amaka, "you have two questions hiding inside one. First you make one letter disappear. Then the other shows its face." She wrote, 3x plus 2y equals 13. X, y equals 1. From the second one, she said, if x, y equals 1, then x equals y plus 1. You put that inside the first one. She slowly replaced the x with y plus 1. 3y plus 1 plus 2y equals 13. Now open the bracket, she said. 3y plus 3 plus 2y is equal to 13. Join the y's together. 5y plus 3 is equal to 13, Amaka whispered, following her. So 5y equals 10. So y equals 2. Then x equals y plus 1, so x equals 3. Very simple. She stood up and smiled. Amaka stared at the ground as if magic had just happened there. That's it, she asked. So all this time I just needed to make one letter disappear? Yes, Zuri said. Don't fear it. Talk to the question like it is your friend. A slow smile spread over Amaka's face. For the first time in months, she felt a small light inside her chest. Can you teach me more? She asked. Zuri looked at the sun. It was already leaning towards evening. She still had a full bucket of water to sell. I have to go and hawk or I will not eat today, she said. But if you want, tomorrow when you close from school we can sit again. Just 30 minutes. I will come, Amaka said quickly. I promise. They smiled at each other like old friends, even though they had met only that day. A horn blasted. The black Jeep with Adeyemi logo stopped in front of the gate. Amaka, the driver called. Where have you been? Oga is angry. Amaka jumped. She grabbed her bag and ran back across the road, looking back once. Zuri watched her enter the big car, then hugged her second-hand textbook to her chest. Maybe this is the door, she whispered to herself. That evening, the air in Chief Adeyemi's house was heavy. He stood by the sitting room window, still wearing his office shirt. His phone kept buzzing with messages, but he ignored them. So you just ran out of school like that, he said, his voice quiet, which was worse than shouting. Cars are passing. Bikes are running. Anything could have happened to you. I'm sorry, Daddy, Amaka said, head bowed. I felt ashamed. Because you failed, he asked sharply. Because you shouted, she whispered. In front of everybody. Her mother, sitting on the sofa, sighed. You embarrassed the child, dear. You know how children of her age are. They feel things quickly. He rubbed his forehead. And what about me? Do I not feel? Do you know how people were looking at me? As if I do not train my own child. As if I am a fool. He turned back to Amaka. Your promotion exam is in 6 weeks. If you don't get at least a C in maths, they say you may repeat. I will not allow that. From next week you will have lessons every day after school. I have already spoken to a top tutor. He charges plenty, so you must not waste it. Amaka's heart sank. She thought of Zuri's chalk on the pavement. Of how the numbers had suddenly made sense. Daddy, she began softly. There's this girl. No excuses, he cut in. I will pay, you will learn. Simple. That night, when everyone was asleep, Amaka lay awake, staring at the ceiling. In her mind, she saw 2 pictures. The proud face of Mr. Danjuma saying, some people are not maths people, and the calm face of Zuri saying, hard things become easy when someone explains with love. She knew which one felt like hope. Under the bridge, Zuri also could not sleep. Around her, other street children snored or muttered in their dreams. Baby cried somewhere. Far above, cars hummed over the bridge like angry bees. Beside her mat lay her nylon bag. A small wrapper, a cup, a spoon, a change of clothes, and her new maths textbook. Her stomach growled. She had not sold all her water that day. Stopping to teach by the school gate had stolen some of her selling time. An older boy called Sei rolled over and looked at her. Why are you awake? He asked. Nothing, she said. He snorted. You are still thinking of that rich schoolgirl, eh? Be careful. People like that, they will use you and forget you. Tomorrow you will be hungry. They will be in air conditioner eating chicken. Zuri hugged her book. She did not look proud, she said quietly. She looked tired. Lost. Lost inside big house. I want to be lost like that too, Sei joked, turning his back. But Zuri kept thinking of Amaka's eyes when the answer appeared on the ground. She thought of how it felt to share something in her head with someone who needed it. She also thought of Big Joe, the area man who collected daily money from hawkers for protection. If she kept wasting time teaching, she might not sell enough to pay him. And Big Joe was not patient. Tomorrow I will just teach her small and rush to hawk, she told herself. Just 30 minutes. God, please help me. The next day the pattern began. As soon as the closing bell rang, Amaka would hurry out of the school gate, cross the road carefully this time, and find Zuri at their spot by the small tree. On the first day, they used chalk on the pavement again. On the second day, Zuri borrowed a tiny slate from a younger boy who sold sweets. On the third day, Amaka brought an extra exercise book from home. They sat side by side, their heads almost touching, as Zuri broke down each topic. Change the subject of formula is just like changing who is in front of the line, she said. You move people around, but you must keep the balance. Factorization is like sharing gifts, she explained another day. Find what is common to all of them and put it outside. Slowly, the fear inside Amaka's chest began to melt like ice left in the sun. Sometimes she asked, "How do you know all this? Which school do you go to?" Zuri would shrug. "I used to go to one small school in the village," she said. "Before my parents, before things changed." "Don't you miss school?" Amaka asked. "I miss it every day," Zuri replied, looking away. "That is why I read any paper I see." One afternoon, rain clouds gathered, and the wind blew dust into their eyes. Still they sat and worked, covering the book with a nylon bag between questions. Zuri noticed how Amaka's soft hands shook less when she wrote now. She saw her eyes brighten when she got an answer on her own. "You see," Zuri said, "you are a maths person. They just did not show you the right way." At home, however, things were not smooth. The private tutor Chief hired, a tall man with glasses, came every evening at 6. He brought thick textbooks and spoke long English. "Now, Miss Amaka," he would say, "this concept is fundamental to your academic foundation. If you do not grasp it, your cognitive progress may suffer." By the time he finished his big words, Amaka's head already hurt. He solved questions fast, his hand flying over the page. "You see, it's easy," he would say. But when he gave her a new one to try, her mind went blank again. She remembered Zuri's slow, patient voice and wished she was beside her. One night, after the tutor left, Chief called her into his study. "So, how are the lessons?" he asked. "They're okay," she lied. He stared at her. "Okay is not enough. The principal called me again. The exam timetable is out. Your maths paper is in 4 weeks. 4 weeks only, Amaka." He leaned forward. "If you fail this time, I will send you to that strict boarding school in the East. No more drivers, no more outings, no more cartoons. Wake up at 4 a.m., cut grass, run round field. Maybe that will reset your brain." Fear clamped her chest. "I'll pass," she whispered. "I promise." When she went to bed, she cried into her pillow. She was trying her best, yet it felt like the ground under her feet was shaking. The next day at the roadside, she told Zuri everything. "They will send you away because of maths." Zuri asked, shocked. "But you are learning fast." "They don't believe it," Amaka said. "They think only big teachers can help me. Nobody will listen if I say my real teacher sits under a tree." Zuri laughed sadly. "Even me, some people don't believe I can count my own money." They grew quiet. On the wall of the nearby school, the old poster flapped in the wind. "Education is the key." "But how will we cover everything before exam?" Amaka finally asked. "We only meet for a short time each day. And I still have homework from the other tutor." Zuri looked at her worn-out slippers, thinking. "If we had more time," she said slowly, "I could help you practice past questions. We could make a plan. Morning, afternoon, night. Come to my house." The words jumped out of Amaka's mouth before she could stop them. Zuri's eyes flew open. "Your house. That big one your driver carries you to. Guards will not allow me to even smell your gate." "We can talk to my dad," Amaka said, but even as she spoke, she remembered his proud face, his shouting at school, the way he looked down on people. "What will you tell him?" Zuri asked softly. "That one girl from Underbridge is better than his expensive tutor." Amaka bit her lip. Tears pricked her eyes again. It sounded foolish when Zuri said it like that. But deep inside she knew it was true. Silence stretched between them for a while. The noise of Lagos traffic filled the air. A bus conductor shouted for passengers. A hawker called out the price of oranges. Life moved on. Then Amaka sat up straight. "If I ask my father, he will say no," she said slowly. "He doesn't listen when he is angry. But what if you just come first? Only once. You teach me there. When he sees my results later, he can say anything he likes." Zuri stared at her. "Your father must not see me. I don't want trouble." "He won't," Amaka said, trying to sound brave. "Tomorrow when school closes, I'll tell the driver you are my friend from school. Or you can hide at the back of the car. Just for one lesson. After that we can think again." Zuri's heart pounded. Going into the rich man's estate felt like stepping into another world. If they caught her, they might call police. But if she did nothing, this girl might fail and be sent far away. Their strange little classroom under the tree would end. She looked at Amaka's pleading eyes. "Okay," Zuri whispered at last. "Just once." The next afternoon, the black jeep waited by the school gate as usual. Amaka's hands were shaking as she walked up to it with Zuri beside her, head down, hugging her nylon bag. "Good afternoon, sir," Amaka told the driver. "This is my friend. Please, can we give her a ride to our side? Her place is not far." The driver frowned, looking at Zuri's torn uniform. "Olga will not like this," he muttered. "He doesn't want strangers in the car." "Please," Amaka begged. "I'll tell him you helped me with group work." The man hesitated, then sighed. He had watched Amaka grow up. He hated seeing her so sad these days. "Enter quick," he said at last. "Don't talk too much. If Olga asks, I will say." He shook his head. "Just enter." They slipped into the back seat, hearts racing. As the car rolled away from the noisy road towards the quiet, smooth streets of the rich estate, Zuri pressed her face to the window, eyes wide at the tall houses, the flowers, the clean gutters. "Is this where you live?" she whispered. Amaka nodded, her own stomach tight. Ahead, the high gates of her house slowly came into view. 2 security men stood there, holding their guns, watching every car. One of them stepped forward as the jeep approached and peered into the back. His eyes moved from Amaka's neat uniform to Zuri's torn one. The car stopped. He bent closer to the glass, frowning. "Madam Amaka," he said slowly. "Who is this girl with you?" The guard's eyes moved from Amaka's neat uniform to Zuri's torn one again. "Madam Amaka," he repeated. "Who is this girl with you?" Amaka's heart hammered so loud she could hear it in her ears. She's my classmate," she said quickly. "Her house is near our street. Her parents are not around today, so she will stay with us small. My mum knows." It was a weak lie, and even she knew it. The guard raised an eyebrow. "Classmate? From which school? Her uniform no match your own." The driver cleared his throat. "Ah, Musa, leave story," he said. "You know children now. School excursion, inter-school this, inter-school that. Olga will soon call me. Let us enter before he starts shouting again." Musa looked from the driver to Amaka, then to Zuri, who was squeezing her nylon bag so tight her knuckles were white. He sighed. Rich people matter," he muttered. "If anything happen now, they will say it is guard's fault. But go. Just don't let her be roaming up and down." He slapped the gate twice. "Open." The heavy metal gates rolled aside. The jeep drove in. Zuri pressed herself into the seat, her heart racing. When the gates closed behind them, it felt like entering another world. Inside the compound, flowers lined the path. The grass was cut short like it had been combed with a fine comb. A small fountain in the middle threw water up into the air. The big house shone with glass windows. "It's like a palace," Zuri whispered. To her, even the air smelled different. The jeep stopped at the front door. The driver got down and opened for them. "Quickly go inside," he said quietly. "If Madam or Olga ask, say she is for homework. And don't put me into trouble, I beg." "Thank you, Uncle Tund," Amaka whispered. They walked into the cool sitting room. The tiles were so smooth Zuri was afraid to step on them with her dusty slippers. If I scratch this floor now, they will arrest me, she joked weakly. Amaka gave a small smile. Don't worry. Just follow me. They passed the big sofa where her father usually sat to watch news. They passed the large TV on the wall and the shining glass table. On the wall, a huge framed picture of Chief in native clothes watched them with serious eyes. Zuri looked away. That face alone made her nervous. They slipped down a side passage into a smaller room with a large desk and shelves full of books. This is Daddy's study, Amaka said. Most times he is not at home this early. We can use it for now. Later we'll see. Zuri stood at the doorway, frozen. Are you sure I can touch things here? She whispered. Amaka nodded, even though her own stomach felt like jelly. On the desk lay some pens, a notebook with Amaka's name, and a clean sheet of paper. Behind the desk, the window looked out at the garden. Zuri walked slowly to the chair and touched the back of it. This chair alone can pay my school fees, she said under her breath. She sat down but not fully, like someone ready to jump up and run if anyone shouted. Okay, she said, clearing her throat. Bring your book. Time is going. Amaka sat opposite her and pulled out all her maths books. For a moment they both laughed at themselves. Two small girls inside a big man's study, acting like it was their own private classroom. They started with topics from the exam syllabus. First, we make a plan, Zuri said, using one of the white sheets. For weeks, we will put each topic on each day. No day will pass without small maths. She drew a table. Monday to Sunday. Algebra, word problems, graphs, indices. She even added revision and rest in small boxes. Rest is also part of work, she said. If your head is tired, it will throw away what you put inside. It was a simple thing, but no adult had ever sat with Amaka to plan like this. The private tutor only rushing through topics. They started with simultaneous equations again. This time, Zuri brought out past questions she had copied by hand from an old paper at the bookstall. Exam will not bring any question from heaven, she said. They only twist the ones we know. So we will know them very well. She made Amaka solve each one in the book. When she got stuck, Zuri did not shout. She did not say, "Is that not what I just did?" She would laugh, push the book back gently and say, "Okay, let's kneel down and look slowly." At one point, as they bent over the book, someone cleared their throat at the door. Both girls jumped. A woman in her late 40s stood there, hands on her waist, wrapper tied tight. It was Auntie Beezy, the housekeeper. She had worked in the house since before Amaka was born. Her eyes went straight to Zuri's torn uniform. "Ihen," she said. "Who are you? And how did you enter Oga's study?" Words died in Amaka's mouth. Zuri stood up fast. "Good afternoon, Ma," she said. "Please, This is my friend." Amaka rushed in. "She's helping me with maths. Please don't tell Daddy yet. Please." Auntie Beezy frowned. "Your father said a tutor will be coming. Big man with certificate. Is this the tutor?" "No, Ma," Zuri said quickly. "I'm not a teacher. I just understand some topics. I'm only trying to help her. Can go. I'm sorry." She started gathering her things. Something in her voice made the older woman pause. She looked at the paper on the table, saw neat workings and correct answers. She looked at Amaka's face, hopeful, alive. "Wait," she said. Zuri froze. "What is X in that question?" Auntie Beezy asked suddenly, pointing at the page. 3, Ma, Zuri answered. "And Y is 2. How?" the woman demanded. Zuri explained step by step. Her fingers moved in the air, as if drawing invisible numbers. By the time she finished, Auntie Beezy's face had softened. She said. "You talk like my old teacher in village." She also used small words to break big maths. Many children passed in her time. She sighed. "Life is strange. Big people will pay plenty money for what small people are giving for free." She looked at the door, then back at them. "Oya, sit down. If Olga comes back now, I will pretend I sent you to help me count money in the store. But be careful. His eyes are sharp like torchlight. A smile of relief spread over Amaka's face. Thank you, Auntie. Don't thank me yet, the woman said. Just make sure this effort is not wasted. If you fail after all this, I will join Olga to shout. They all laughed quietly. For the next hour, the study became a different kind of room. Not a place of rich man business, but a simple classroom under a secret roof. Back under the bridge that evening, things were not gentle. By the time Zuri reached her usual spot, the sun was low. She had not hawked at all that afternoon. The other children were counting their small money, sharing stories of customers. Big Joe, the area man with a thick neck and scar on his cheek, sat on a broken plastic chair, chewing gum. People feared him because he knew how to fight and had friends who handled things in the area. Zuri, he barked when he saw her. Where you go since morning? You know today is collection day, ABI. She swallowed. I went to help someone with homework. I will sell extra tomorrow to pay you, I promise. Big Joe stood up slowly. You went to read book when you are owing me. His hand shot out and grabbed her wrist. Listen well. This street is not your father's land. You sell here, you pay. If I allow you to play with me, tomorrow everybody will play. Do I look like comedian? His grip hurt. Zuri's eyes filled, but she refused to cry. Please, she said. Give me small time. I will pay. He squeezed harder, then pushed her away. If by next week you don't bring my money, don't come back here. And don't think to run. Lagos is big, but my people are everywhere. He sat back down as if nothing had happened. Sei came to her side. I warned you, he muttered. Rich people will not be here when trouble comes. Zuri rubbed her wrist. Her heart was pounding, but not only from fear. It was also from anger. Who told you it is rich people I'm doing this for? She snapped quietly. If that girl passes, she will know I am not useless. If I can teach, maybe one day I can teach in a real school. Maybe someone will see. Sei shook his head. You are dreaming. She lifted her chin. If poor people stop dreaming, they will die even while breathing. That night, she ate only one piece of bread. But as she hugged her book to sleep, she repeated something her mother used to say. Knowledge is like seed. Even if it falls on rock, one day one crack will open for it. The journey between the mansion and the bridge continued. Every 2 days, Zuri found a way to enter the estate. Sometimes she came in the jeep with Amaka. Other times, when the driver was afraid, she walked and waited by the side gate. Auntie Beezy would smuggle her in through the back, pretending she was a cousin from the village. In the study they solved more past questions. Graph. Fractions. Word problems with stories about people buying yam and oranges. Always draw the picture in your mind, Zuri would say. Don't rush to answer. First, understand what they are really asking. At school, the changes began to show. One day, in a surprise test, Amaka scored 18 out of 20 in maths. Her classmates stared. Did you cheat? One asked. No, she said, a small proud smile on her face. I just finally understand. Even Mr. Danjuma looked confused. Maybe the private tutor is working after all, he muttered. Amaka almost laughed. If only he knew. At home, her parents saw the test script. This is good, her mother said, surprised. Who marked it? My maths teacher, Amaka said. Maybe that expensive tutor is earning his money, Chief said. We will even add extra lessons. I want you to be the best, not just pass. His words were full of pride, not knowing the real helper was a homeless girl who entered his house like a thief. One Friday the sky was cloudy. The private tutor called to say he was stuck in traffic and could not come. Chief also called from the office. I will be late today, he told his wife. There is a meeting. The house felt quiet. After homework, Amaka went to the kitchen. Auntie, can Zuri come today? She whispered. We have not yet practiced graphs properly. Auntie Beezy wiped her hands on her wrapper. Olga said he will be late, true, she said. But late can turn to early. Rich people time is like Okada. It changes without warning. Please, Amaka begged. I must do well in this exam. The older woman looked at her, then sighed. Okay. Pull her. But this time don't hide in the study. Use the dining table. It is near the kitchen. If I hear car horn I will tell you. Amaka hugged her. Thank you. An hour later, Zuri sat at the long dining table, her eyes wider than ever. The table could seat 10 people. A shining chandelier hung above them. This place is too fine for maths, she said. That means the numbers will behave well, Amaka joked. They spread out the books. Zuri drew axes on graph paper, teaching her how to plot points. See, each point is like a house, she said. You must give it address, across first, then up. If you mix them, the person will knock wrong door. They were laughing at a crooked line when they heard footsteps. Not from the kitchen. From the front door. Auntie Beezy rushed out of the kitchen, her face pale. Amaka, she hissed. Your father is back. And he is already inside the compound. I thought he said late, but see him now. Zuri's pen slipped from her hand. The sound of a car door closing echoed in the compound. Heavy footsteps approached the house. The front door opened. Chief Adeyemi stepped into his own sitting room, shaking off the rain from his shoulders, and started walking straight towards the dining room where a homeless orphan girl sat with his only daughter, holding a maths book. Chief Adeyemi stopped at the entrance of the dining room. For a few seconds nobody moved. On the long table lay open books, rough sheets, pens rolling here and there. On one side sat his only daughter. On the other side, in a torn uniform and dusty slippers, sat a girl he had never seen before. Their heads were bent over the same maths book. What is going on here? His voice cut through the air like a knife. Amaka jumped to her feet. Zuri also stood up so fast her chair scraped the floor. Gee, good evening, sir, Zuri stammered, eyes wide. Chief's eyes moved slowly from her face to her clothes, to the nylon bag by her feet, then back to his daughter. Amaka, he said, his voice low and dangerous. Who is this girl and why is she in my house? Amaka's mouth was dry. She's my friend, she said weakly. She is helping me with maths. Your friend, he repeated. From where? Zuri swallowed. Sir, I stay under. Don't answer me, he snapped at her. I did not ask you. He turned back to his daughter. I pay for the best school in this city. I pay for a private tutor who charges more in 1 hour than some people earn in a week. And you? You bring a street girl into my house to teach you. Daddy, please listen, Amaka begged. She explains it in a way I understand. Keep quiet, he thundered. The walls almost shook. Footsteps hurried in. Auntie Beezy ran from the kitchen, tying her wrapper. Sir, I beg, it's not her fault, she said quickly. I told the girl to come. I've been watching how she teaches. She's good, sir. Very patient. The child is improving because of her. So now my housekeeper is also bringing strangers into my house? Chief shouted. Is this a market? Do I know if this girl is a thief? A spy? Do I know where she comes from? Zuri took a step back, shame burning her face. I'm not a thief, sir, she whispered. I only wanted to help. You, he scoffed, turning on her. Help? Do you know how much we spend on teachers? What do you know that they don't know? Zuri's fingers tightened around the nylon handle. I know this topic, sir. She used to fail. Now she is. Out, he said, pointing at the door. Leave my house now before I call the guards. The words hit her like stones. She looked at Amaka, whose eyes were already full of tears. Daddy, please, Amaka cried, stepping between them. Don't send her away like that. She's the one who made me pass the last test. Look. She grabbed her school bag and pulled out the test paper with 18/20ths written at the top. Chief did not even glance at it. I said she is not to enter this house again, he said, his voice cold. If I ever see you near my gate, girl, you will regret it. Do you understand me? Zuri's throat closed up. Her legs felt like wood. Yes, sir, she whispered. She turned and walked out of the dining room, her head low. Each step on the smooth tiles felt like walking on someone else's dream. At the door, she stopped once and looked back at Amaka. I'm sorry, she said softly. Then she slipped out of the house, past the guards, through the gate, back into the noisy street where she came from. That night, the mansion was full of angry words. How could you bring such a person inside? Chief raged in the sitting room. Do you know the kind of people that move around this city? Tomorrow now, if something goes missing, they will say it is me who is careless. Amaka sat on the sofa, eyes swollen from crying. She's not bad, she whispered. She only wanted to teach me. And you lied to me, he continued. You told me the tutor was helping you. All this while you were hiding this nonsense. Is this how you repay me for all I do? With lies. Her mother shook her head sadly. You should not have brought her inside, dear, she said to Amaka. Your father is right on that part. At least you should have told us first. But you don't listen when you're angry, Amaka said, the words rushing out before she could stop them. You shout. You don't hear me. The room went silent. Chief stared at her, shocked. Nobody spoke to him like that. His face hardened. From today, he said slowly, you are not to go near that gate alone. No more playing outside school after closing. No more secret friends. You will come home, do your homework, and wait for your tutor. Do you understand? Terror and anger fought inside her chest. Yes, sir, she said at last. He took her phone from her hand. And this, he added, is going away until after exams. I will not have you using it to chat with strangers. He walked out, leaving a heavy silence behind him. Under the bridge, Zuri sat on her mat, hugging her knees. Around her, the night buzzed with mosquitoes and the low hum of cars from above. But inside her, there was only one picture. The look on Chief's face when he pointed at the door. The way he said, you, as if she was something dirty. Sei came and dropped beside her. So, how was Palace? He asked, trying to sound funny. Did they give you jollof rice? She did not answer. He looked at her and saw tears running down her cheeks. Ah, he said, suddenly serious. What happened? He chased me away, she whispered. He said if he sees me near his gate again, I will regret it. Sei hissed. I told you. These people only smile on TV. In real life they think we are dust. She wiped her face with the back of her hand. I just wanted to teach, she said. I thought, if he saw how I helped his daughter, maybe he would, help me too. Or at least not chase me like a dog. As if on cue, Big Joe's voice boomed from the other side of the pillar. Zuri! He jumped. He walked up, hands in his pockets, gum in his mouth. My money, he asked. I'm still gathering it, she said quickly. I will sell double this week. Please give me small time. He grabbed her half-empty bucket and kicked it. The few sachets of water rolled away into the dirt. Time is money, he said. You wasted mine when you went to play tutor in rich people's house. Next week, if you cannot pay what you owe, don't bother coming back here. There are many children who want this spot. He walked away, leaving her to pick up the dirty water sachets from the ground. Her hands shook as she gathered them. For the first time since she came to live under the bridge, Zuri felt truly small. Not because of hunger or the cold ground, but because someone had looked at her and decided she had nothing to offer. Maybe Sei was right. Maybe dreaming was foolish. She pressed her forehead against her knees and let herself cry quietly, so the others would not hear. Days passed. Amaka's life became tight like a rope. Cool. Tutor. But no more stops by the gate. No more laughter under the tree. No Zuri. Without those small lessons that made numbers friendly, the old fear slowly crept back. The private tutor did his best. He talked and talked. He gave her more homework. But his words felt heavy like stones. They did not sink in. They just piled up in her head. One day they wrote another class test. This time, when the scripts came back, 7/20 stared at her from the top of the page in red ink. Her throat closed up. 7. After all the extra lessons. After school, Mr. Danjuma called her aside. "Amaka," he said not unkindly, "your exam is close. This kind of score is bad. If you don't improve, there is nothing I can do for you." She nodded, blinking back tears. At home, her father spread the script on the table. "What is this?" he demanded. "So after shouting, after paying tutor, after banning that girl, this is the result?" "I am trying," she whispered. "Your trying is not enough," he snapped. "Do you know how many people wish they had your chance? You are playing with your future." He stormed out before she could answer. That night, alone in her room, Amaka hugged her pillow and cried until her chest hurt. "I wish Zuri was here," she whispered into the darkness. "I wish I could understand again. I wish Daddy would just listen." On the other side of the city, Zuri was also fighting. She forced herself to hawk longer hours, walking from street to street. Her feet hurt. Her wrists still ached from where Big Joe had grabbed her. Still, the money was never enough. Each time she passed near Amaka's school, she looked away. She remembered Chief's voice. "If I ever see you near my gate, you will regret it." She missed their lessons. She missed the way Amaka's eyes lit up when an answer came. Teaching had made her feel useful. Now she felt like a ghost again. One evening, as the sun went down, she sat by the bookstall with the old man. She turned the pages of her maths book, but the numbers danced sadly. "Why are you not smiling with your maths today?" the old man asked, peering over his glasses. She told him the story, from the first day by the gate to being chased out of the mansion. He listened quietly, nodding. He said at last. "Pride is a strange sickness. It makes rich man blind to treasure standing right in front of him. But listen, my child. Your value does not change because one man cannot see it." She looked at him doubtfully. "But what can I do now?" she asked. "Big Joe wants money. That girl will fail without help. I am nobody." "You are not nobody," he said firmly. "You are a girl who can turn fear into understanding. That is not small. One day, someone with clear eyes will see it." She held those words in her heart, the way she used to hold her mother's songs. The exam timetable went up on the school notice board. Mathematics. Monday, 9 a.m. The whole school buzzed. Some students laughed, saying they would manage. Others complained. Those who were good in maths walked proudly. Amaka stared at the paper until the letters blurred. Only 3 days. 3 days to face the subject that held her future like a key. Home, the pressure grew. Her mother prayed louder. "God, please, you know this child is my only child. Don't let shame cover us." Her father grew quieter, which was somehow worse than shouting. On Sunday night, the house felt heavy. The tutor had just left. He shook his head slightly as he climbed into his car. "She is trying," he told Chief. "But fear is blocking her. Tomorrow will show us everything." In the dining room, books covered the table, but the numbers on the page danced before Amaka's eyes. No matter how she tried, she mixed up steps, forgot small things, panicked. At last, she dropped her pen and burst into tears. "I can't do it," she sobbed. "I can't." Her mother rushed in. "What is it?" she cried, kneeling beside her. "I will fail," Amaka choked. "I know it. My head is full, but nothing is staying. When Zuri was teaching me, I understood. Now I don't. Why didn't you let her stay? Why didn't Daddy listen?" Her mother froze. "Zuri," she repeated. "Is that the girl your father sent away?" "Yes," Amaka said, wiping her nose. She is the one who helped me get 18 in that test. Not the tutor. She taught me under the tree. She taught me here, on this same table before Daddy came that day. Nobody believes it, but it's true." Auntie Beezy, who had been listening from the kitchen door, stepped closer. "Madam, she is telling the truth. the older woman said quietly. That girl knows maths. Watch. She took this same topic and broke it small. The child's face changed. That girl may not have fine clothes, but she has brain. Strong one. Just then Chief walked in, loosening his tie. What are you all talking about? He asked. They turned to him. For a moment nobody spoke. Then Amaka stood up, tears still on her face, but something new in her eyes, something like courage. Daddy, she said, voice shaking, I have to tell you the truth. All of it. He frowned. What truth? She swallowed hard. That homeless girl. She is the one who really taught me maths. Not the tutor. Not the teacher. When you chased her away, my understanding went with her. Tomorrow is my exam. If I write it like this, I will fail. He stared at her, angry and surprised. So you are saying all the money I have spent? I am saying money cannot buy everything, she cut in, surprising even herself. Sometimes help comes in dirty clothes. You didn't even let her speak. You didn't look at my test. You just saw her clothes and decided she was nothing. The room went very still. Her mother looked from father to daughter, worry in her eyes. Auntie Beezy wiped her hands on her wrapper, waiting. Chief's jaw tightened. Watch your mouth, he said slowly. You are still a child. I know, she replied, voice trembling. That is why I am begging you. Please, Daddy. Let her come. Just tonight. Let her teach me one more time before my exam. If I still fail, then you can do whatever you want. Send me to boarding school. Take my phone forever. Anything. But please, give me this last chance. Tears ran down her cheeks, but her gaze did not move away from his. It was the first time she had ever stood this way before him. For a long time he said nothing. He turned to the window. Outside the sky rumbled. The first drops of rain began to fall, tapping on the glass like tiny fingers. You want me to invite that girl back into my house? He asked at last, his back still turned. Yes, Amaka whispered. Because she is my real teacher. Her mother touched his arm gently. Think of her future, she said softly. One night will not kill us. Pride will. Auntie Beezy cleared her throat. Sir, I can go and look for the girl, she offered. I know some of the places those children stay. If she is willing to come, at least you can see with your own eyes. The room held its breath. Chief stood there, shoulders stiff, fighting a battle nobody could see. Finally he let out a long, slow breath. Fine, he said. Go and find her. They all stared. But, he added, turning back to them, his eyes sharp, if she comes here, she will not hide in my study like a thief. She will sit at this table in front of me and teach. If she truly knows what you say she knows, I will see it. If not, that will be the end of this madness. He looked at his daughter. Do you understand? Hope and fear crashed together inside her. Yes, Daddy, she whispered. Good, he said. Then let the rain beat who it wants to beat. Tonight, we will see if this homeless girl is really the key to my daughter's future. Or just another street lie. Outside, the rain grew heavier as Auntie Beezy tied her headscarf, grabbed an umbrella, and stepped out into the dark, stormy Lagos night, going to search for a girl under the bridge. While inside the house, Amaka sat at the waiting table, her heart pounding, wondering if Zuri would come, and what would happen when her proud father finally saw her again. Rain beat the streets of Lagos as if the sky itself was angry. Under the bridge, water dripped from every corner. Children huddled close to keep warm. Zuri sat by the pillar, knees to her chest, trying to keep her book dry under her shirt. She heard someone calling her name through the sound of rain. Zuri! Zuri! She looked up. A figure in a big wrapper and headscarf was hurrying towards her, holding an umbrella that the wind kept trying to snatch away. It was Auntie Beezy. Zuri's heart jumped. The last time she had seen someone from the big house, it did not end well. She stood slowly. Good evening, Ma, she said, voice small. Evening, my child, Auntie Beezy panted as she reached her. Her clothes were already wet at the edges. I have been asking up and down. They said I would find you here. Why are you looking for me? Zuri asked carefully. Did I do something again? The older woman shook her head. No, you did something good. And now, at last, Olga wants to see it. Zuri frowned. You're Olga. The same man who chased me away. Yes, she said. His eyes are beginning to open small. Madam talked to him. The girl too. They spoke the truth. He has agreed to give you one chance. He wants you to teach his daughter. In front of him. Tonight. Zuri hugged herself. Cold and fear mixed in her chest. I don't want to go back, she whispered. He hates me. He does not hate you, Auntie Beezy said softly. He is just full of pride and fear. Pride that his money cannot fix this problem. Fear that his child may fail. Sometimes when adults are afraid, they shout instead of listening. She touched Zuri's shoulder. But listen to me. That girl needs you. Tomorrow is her exam. You can help her. And you cannot let fear rule you too. From the shadows, Say called. Zuri, don't go. You remember what he said. Rich people change mouth fast. Today they call you, tomorrow they call police. Auntie Beezy turned, hands on hips. My friend, keep quiet there. Do I look like police? If I wanted to harm her, would I come in the rain like this? I am a mother. I know what I am saying. She looked back at Zuri. If you don't want to come, I will go and tell them. But when you hear news later, you will ask yourself, what if I had gone? Zuri looked at her wet slippers. At the children shivering under torn blankets. At her own book, still safe under her shirt. What if this is the crack in the rock, she thought. The one my mother talked about. The small opening where my seed can grow. She took a deep breath. I will come, she said. Zuri hissed. You are stubborn. Zuri smiled sadly. If I don't go, I will still be here tomorrow, owing Big Joe, selling water, wondering what if. If I go and they chase me again. At least I will know I tried. Auntie Beezy's eyes softened. You are braver than many adults, my child, she said. They stepped out into the rain together, sharing the small umbrella. Back at the mansion, the air was tight. Amaka sat at the dining table, books spread out but untouched. Her fingers twisted the edge of a tissue until it tore. Her father sat at the head of the table, arms crossed, watching the door. His face was a hard mask. Only the tapping of his fingers on the table showed he was not as calm as he looked. Her mother paced quietly nearby, whispering prayers under her breath. Minutes felt like hours. Then the gate creaked open. The front door clicked. Wet footsteps came down the hallway. Auntie Beezy stepped into the dining room, water dripping from her wrapper. Behind her, holding her nylon bag and looking very small under the bright lights, was Zuri. She had tried to smooth her hair with her fingers. Her uniform was still torn. Her slippers were still worn out. Her eyes were wide, but she did not look away. For a moment nobody spoke. Rain beat hard on the roof like in the story's beginning. The sound filled the pauses between heartbeats. Chief's eyes narrowed. So, he said slowly, the famous teacher has returned. Zuri swallowed. Good evening, sir, she said. If you want me to go, I will go. I only came because they said your daughter needed help. His gaze stayed on her. Come closer, he said. She walked towards the table, each step echoing in her ears. Sit, he told her, pointing at the chair beside Amaka. Zuri sat, back straight, hands shaking a little. He picked up one of the past question papers on the table. You say you can teach, he said. Let me see it with my own eyes. He dropped the paper in front of her. Explain this question to my daughter. From the beginning. It was the hardest question on the page. Simultaneous equations mixed with fractions and brackets. The kind that had made Amaka cry before. The room went quiet. Amaka touched Zuri's elbow under the table. A small, silent, you can do it. Zuri closed her eyes for half a second, breathing in and out. When she opened them, the fear in her eyes had changed. It was still there, but another light stood beside it, steady and calm. She pulled the paper closer. Okay, she said softly, turning to Amaka. Forget that Daddy is here. Forget the big house. It is just you and me and the question like before. Remember? Amaka nodded, throat tight. Zuri picked up a pen. First, we tidy the question, she said. Clean it up. Fractions are like small children. Too many of them make noise. So we clear them first. She started from the top, step by step, just as she had done under the tree and on the pavement. She did not rush. She did not use big words. She explained each move. Why did you do that? Chief asked once, leaning forward. So the letters can stand alone, sir, she answered. When they are crowded, you cannot see who is who. If you separate them, the answer becomes clear. He grunted but said nothing more. Soon she reached the middle of the working. Now we choose one letter to make disappear, she said. We did this one before. Which one do you want to remove, X or Y? Y, Amaka said, voice firmer now. Good, Zuri replied. Then we make their numbers match so they can cancel. Like two people at war who knock each other down. She guided Amaka's hand, letting her do the next steps. Bit by bit, the scary question became a simple path. At the end they found X and Y. They checked the answer. Matched. Zuri put the pen down. That is all, she said quietly. Silence. The ticking clock on the wall sounded loud. Chief's eyes were not on the answer. They were on his daughter's face. On the way her fear had melted into understanding. On the small, proud smile. The same smile he had seen only once before when she brought home the 18/20th test. He turned to Zuri slowly. Do you know, he said, that this same question I paid that private tutor to explain for 1 hour last week, and my daughter still cried after? Zuri bowed her head. I don't know, sir. I only break it the way my own teacher broke it for me long ago. And do you know, he continued, voice softer now, that I chased you from my house like a criminal, without even asking you to solve one question? She swallowed. Yes, sir. He was quiet for a long moment. Then, in front of everyone, the billionaire did something nobody expected. He stood up. He walked around the table, slowly, until he was standing right beside her chair. Zuri held her breath. Chief Adeyemi Okonkwo, the man on magazine covers, the man people feared when he raised his voice, bent slightly. I was wrong, he said. The words were simple, but they shook the room. I judged you by your clothes, he went on. By the dust on your slippers. By the fact that you sleep under a bridge. I did not see your mind. I did not see your heart. He looked at his daughter. And I did not listen to my own child when she tried to tell me the truth. I let my pride speak louder than her voice. He turned back to Zuri. I am sorry, he said. Everyone stared. Madam's hand flew to her mouth. Auntie Beezy's eyes grew wet. Even the guards peeping from the doorway shifted in shock. No one could remember the last time Chief Adeyemi had said, I am sorry to anyone, let alone a homeless girl. But he was not done. He pulled out the chair beside her and sat down so they were at the same level. From tonight, he said slowly, you are not just that street girl to me. You are my daughter's teacher. Do you hear me? Her teacher. Zuri's eyes filled with tears. Yes, sir, she whispered. Tomorrow morning is her exam, he continued. Will you stay tonight and help her revise? As her teacher. Yes, sir, she said again, this time with a small smile. He nodded. Then he added words that made everyone's mouth open wider. And from next term, he said, you yourself will not be selling water under any bridge again. You will be in school. She blinked. Yes, sir. I will pay your school fees, he said. Uniform, books, everything. Proper school. The same way I pay for my daughter. You have carried knowledge in your head without a classroom for too long. It is time for that to change. Tears rolled down Zuri's cheeks now, mixing with the raindrops still on her face. Why? She asked, voice trembling. Why would you do that, after the way you treated me? Because I was blind, he said simply. But your courage opened my eyes. And because wealth that only feeds one house is small. Real wealth must spread. He glanced at Auntie Beezy. You, he told her. Tomorrow, find out how many of those children under that bridge want to go to school. Talk to that old bookseller too. We will start small, maybe with a few. But we will start. I will set up a fund. If this girl could teach my daughter from the street, imagine what many of them can do with a chance. The housekeeper covered her head with her wrapper. God will bless you, sir, she breathed. Amaka threw her arms around her father. Thank you, Daddy, she cried. Thank you for listening. Thank you for seeing her. He hugged her back, his hand resting on her hair. Then he looked at both girls and smiled, a real smile, not the one from magazine pictures. Now, he said, standing up, you two should eat something. You cannot fight maths on empty stomachs. After that, this whole table is your classroom. Teach, learn, ask questions. Tonight, this house is a school. They laughed through their tears. They studied deep into the night. Zuri's voice stayed calm and gentle, even when Amaka made mistakes. She made her draw small pictures in the margin, told her funny stories to remember rules, turned scary formulas into simple songs. Chief sat in the sitting room nearby, pretending to read, but really listening. At one point he picked up his phone and called someone. Yes, it's me, he said. Cancel the private tutor. Yes, all of it. Tell him thank you for his time, but we've found another way. He hung up and smiled to himself. Around midnight, Madam sent them to bed. Your brains need rest, she said. Even strong people must sleep. Before they went upstairs, Zuri turned back, unsure. Should I go back to the bridge? She asked quietly. Tonight you will sleep here, Madam said firmly. We have a small guest room. Tomorrow after the exam we will talk about where you will stay. But I promise you, small girl, you will not be thrown away again. Zuri nodded, heart full. For the first time in a long time, she slept on a real mattress, under a real roof. Felt strange and soft. But sleep came easy because hope was finally heavier than fear. Morning came. The sky was clear. The road steamed after the night rain. At school, students filled the exam hall, whispering, shaking legs, flipping last-minute notes. Silence! The invigilator shouted. Face your front. No talking. Question papers were shared. One landed on Amaka's desk. Her heart jumped. Mathematics, promotion exam. She closed her eyes for 1 second and saw Zuri's face in her mind. Hard things become easy when someone explains with love, the memory whispered. She opened her eyes and began. The first question looked scary at first. She took a deep breath and remembered. Tidy the question. Clean it up. Her pen began to move. Under the bridge, at that same hour, Sei watched cars pass. He thought of Zuri, sitting in a rich classroom somewhere. Maybe she will forget us now, he muttered. The old bookseller smiled. Or maybe she will remember you more, he said. Because people who drink from the river of help do not forget those who are still thirsty. He adjusted a pile of old textbooks. On top lay a new maths book that someone had dropped off early that morning with a note. For any child who wants to learn. Ayo. He did not know it, but those were Chief Adeyemi's initials. 2 weeks later the results came out. Students crowded around the notice board, shouting, pushing. Move, Jor. I can't see. Ah. I passed. Chai, I'm finished. Amaka pushed gently through the crowd, her heart in her throat. She found her number, dragged her finger across the line, and gasped. Mathematics, B. Not just a pass. Strong one. Her eyes filled. She did not scream. She just stood there quietly, letting the joy soak her bones. Behind her, Mr. Danjuma walked past, holding his mark list. He glanced at the board, then stopped. Amaka, he said. Is that your B in maths? Yes, sir, she said, smiling. He stared at her, then at the paper. He said slowly. Some people are indeed maths people. They only needed the right teacher. She nodded. Yes, sir, she replied. I found mine. Later that day, at the mansion, a small ceremony happened at the dining table. the same table where everything began. On one side sat Zuri in a brand new school uniform. It was not fancy, but it was clean and whole. Her hair was plaited neatly. Her eyes shone. On the other side sat Amaka in her own uniform, still smelling of school dust and chalk. Between them lay a sheet of paper, Zuri's admission letter to a nearby secondary school. Chief stood at the head of the table. "This house used to be only mine," he said. "My pride, my success, my image. But now I see that a house with only one story is small. Today we add another story. A new beginning." He looked at Zuri. "From now on, you are under my care," he said. "You will go to school. You will have food. You will have books. One day, if you still wish, you will stand in front of a real classroom and teach many children, not just one." Zuri nodded, tears in her eyes. "Yes, sir," she whispered. "Thank you. And you," he said, turning to his daughter. "Remember this for the rest of your life. Help can come from anywhere. Never look down on anyone because of where they sleep or what they wear. We do not know which person carries the key to our problem." "I won't forget," Amaka said. She reached across the table and took Zuri's hand. "We are sisters now," she said with a grin. "Math's sisters." Everyone laughed. Even Musa the guard, peeping from the doorway, smiled. Weeks later, people under the bridge began to notice small changes. One morning Big Joe came, looking for Zuri to shout about his money. Instead, he found a man in a clean shirt and tie talking to the children, taking their names. "Who are you?" Big Joe demanded. The man showed him a paper. "I work for Chief Adeyemi," he said. "We are starting a small program. Some of these children will go to school. We will also talk to the police about people who collect money from them by force. It is better you find another job, my brother." Big Joe clicked his tongue and walked away, but the fear in his eyes showed that life under the bridge was beginning to change. At the bookstall, the old man now had more textbooks. Many had a small sticker inside. "Donated by ANO Foundation. Education is the key." Sometimes, after her own school, Zuri came there in her neat uniform to help other kids solve sums, just like she had helped Amaka. "Hard things become easy," she would say, "when someone explains them with love." And in the big white house with tall gates, math problems still appeared on the dining table. But now, when Chief Adeyemi walked in and saw a homeless orphan girl, no, a once homeless girl, teaching his daughter the hardest subject she could not pass, he did not shout. He smiled. And the first time he said in front of his friends at a party, "This is Zuri, my daughter's maths teacher. She used to live under a bridge. Now I learn from her too." Their eyes nearly popped out. What he said that day shocked everyone there. But for him it was simple truth. Because he had finally learned the lesson this whole story was trying to teach. Pride makes us blind. Humility opens our eyes. Real riches are not the cars we drive or the houses we own, but the hearts we lift and the chances we share. And that is how a billionaire, a homeless orphan girl, and a frightened schoolgirl showed a whole community that sometimes the key to the biggest locked door is hiding in the smallest, dustiest hand.